Hello
This is
there.
nice. I can't see you. That's a change.
Oh, right, right. Yeah, it's just audio, it's just our voices.
Yes.
Yeah, so is this your first time on a podcast?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Well,
And of course, it's with you. So I love that. That's amazing.
hey, well, I'm honored to be your introduction into the podcasting world. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, welcome to the world of podcasting. And yeah, you've told me before that you've been listening to mine, so I'm honored to have you on here.
Yes. Oh, I love your podcast. It's so, oh, yeah, I told you, right? It's like so soothing and like so much wisdom and just really, really beautiful to listen to. Very, very, yeah, so good.
You're right on the same vibe, Matyana. You're all about health and you're all about improving your life. You're all about wisdom. And even if you don't think it, I think you're very wise.
I
Yeah.
try my best.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I love that we begin the episode with laughter, you know?
hmm
Let us know, where are you in the world right now? What time is it over there?
So I am in Australia, Gold Coast. So like the basically on the east side of Australia. I mean, Australia's massive, and it is 8:50 in the morning, Saturday morning. It's a
Nice.
very popular area, actually. Like this place, the whole like it's called like the Northern Rivers, and then the Gold Coast area. Like it's beautiful. Like a lot of, families live here, and it's very. This area has just a lot to offer when it gets to like health. Like there's so many alternative options here, and yeah, just it's a really beautiful place. Definitely. One day you'll come. I do like I could call it, I guess, like a class or a small, like a mini event, maybe even. I don't know. So basically, every Wednesday evening, I've been like, so I live in an eco village. So it's this, village where it's like 250 acres, and all the houses are made out of recycled materials and on solar energy and on rainwater. And it's a beautiful place. And it used to be like an old dairy farm. And they basically, re-established the whole place with native trees. And so we have heaps of kangaroos and koalas. And yeah, it's very, very special place in Australia. And they have a community hall, which is a beautiful hall. And because I live here, I can basically rent that hall out. And I love dancing, and I was like, I want to just open this up, and so yeah, I've been doing it, I think now 3 times. Basically, I've just like kind of advertised in the village itself, and for people to just come and have like an hour of just freestyle dancing and like really letting loose. And it doesn't matter how you look, it's just about how you feel, and all ages are welcome as well. And then at the end, we have one guy, he plays. Actually, funny enough, we're talking to you. He plays the flute.
Mm.
Beautiful. And so he always comes at the end and plays live flute music for us. So we have a bit of like sound healing at the end. And then I always make a nice chai, and we have some chai and just chats. And then everyone goes home, and yeah, and it's really nice. It's been really good.
Awesome. Awesome. Chai and chats, you say.
Yes. And it's good. It's kind of has brought me, because the hard, like, I guess for me the challenging thing was, first of all, you got to like put yourself out there for something that you haven't done before. And then
hmm
because obviously I've danced, by myself, and I mean in the past I used to dance on stage, but that's many years ago. It's different than like organizing something. And then I also like guide a bit, just like tell people like, okay, like, listen, like, feel your feet on the earth, and like just encouraging people to go more into their body. And it's something fully new to me. And
hmm
and it also like making up music lists or like a playlist that people actually like, and like that's, I'm like, oh my god, this is something I don't know. Like I know what I like, but what do other people like? And so it's been really good. And people usually, you know, respond so well to like all like drum and like African beats and like deep tribal beats. Like it's just the best. And yeah, so
What have you been able to get out of, and what feedback have you been receiving when you're encouraging and empowering others to get back inside their bodies with dance?
Well, first, I did definitely get, I've been getting just a lot of feedback in terms of people really wanting this event to happen. Like, a lot of people are like, oh my God, this is so good. Like, we really miss dancing and like just the group and just freestyle dancing. So that's been really big. And like, a lot of people have just said, like, oh, like, kind of just commented on me just starting something just off the how do you say, off the batch, like kind of just starting it, you know, like having that, I don't know, courage, I guess, or to just start something new here in the village.
Yeah.
And I had one woman, she commented, that was the first evening, and she's like, yeah, I think you would be really good with like guiding, and like, because the first night I hardly did any guidance, you know, because I was still like a bit shy. and
Mm.
and then she told me about Gabrielle Roth, who's like the, how do they call her, like the kind of like the grandmother of dance or something like that. Like I haven't done enough research into it yet, but she basically started the 5 rhythms, which I don't know
Mm.
if you've heard about that before.
Mm-mm.
You dance through a wave, so it's made out of staccato, chaos, lyrical, silence. Wait, and there's one at the beginning. Flow. Yeah, so flow, staccato, chaos, lyrical, and then silence. And
Mm.
these are all basically stages that you dance, and they're connected to an emotion, and it basically represents also how in life we go through these waves of emotions. And through
Mm.
that dance, that 5 rhythm dance, you know, you release these emotions, and you, because like both of us know, like, right, we have all, we already full energy beings, and sometimes we might feel a bit, I don't know, depressed or like tired or something, because there's some blockage within us. But there's, you know, we actually have everything, like we all already have all the healing capacities, and all the flowing energy and vibrancy is all already there. And so
Mm.
dance is just such a beautiful way to free these blockages and just, you know, get it moving, like get everything flowing. And then, and yeah, and it's beautiful. And you have then like these stages in the dance where you're just like chaos, you know, where you just jump and move and shake and just fully let go. And so I've been looking a bit into her, and kind of, you can actually do a training to become like a 5 rhythm dance teacher, or however you want to call it. And I've just kind of looked into it and been creating the playlist a bit according to that as well. And yeah, it works really well. It's really good. And then through that, I've kind of started just saying a bit more sentences, and it's fun. Like it becomes more and more natural, and you know, it's, in a way, it just, yeah, flows.
Yeah. Thank you for introducing me to this. I never even heard of this. You know, the 5 energy dance, these 5 movements, the staccato, the chaos, the flow. What is staccato like?
So yeah, so it starts with a flow. So first, you have like flowing movements, you know, where just like water, basically, you know, just flowing. And then staccato is more like electrical, like kind of like sharp movements, very like sharp. I don't know if she actually combines it with the elements. Could be, because there's also like 5 element dancing, so that could also
Mm.
kind of probably be all in harmony. Um, but yeah, I'm only, you know, new to this. There's probably so much information out there that I haven't even looked into. But so staccato is more like kind of sharp movements, and really and then you go into chaos, which is just like fully just shaking and jumping and like, you know, random movements. And then you go into, what is it? Staccato. Lyrical. Yeah, and then lyrical is also more, it's basically all the emotions that you've released, and it bringing it back into a flow, and like, you know, also similar, flowing movements, and just gentle and beautiful, and then the silence at the end is like a meditation, basically.
That's beautiful. Wow. There's a lot of nuance to this, it really sounds like. And it's awesome. You say that someone actually encouraged you and empowered you to start teaching. Like you weren't really coming to the forefront, but they encouraged you to step into that leadership role.
Yes. and yeah, and you know what, because you know, we've talked a lot about the human design, and the funny thing is because I have a fully open throat, so like basically I don't have like the consistent energy to like have a like you know, if I'm like, let's say in a group of people, in a group with people, and like I won't be that person that's like leading the group with my voice. Like usually I'm more kind of in the background, and if someone like then, you know, comes up, talks to me, asks me a question, then that's when my voice comes out. And if I try otherwise, if I try to like overcompensate, because that's like the you know, the not self theme of an open throat, is then I get more resistance from my environment. But I have one gate in my throat center, and that is about leadership, and it's specifically leadership that basically, how do I put it into words, that basically responds to what the tribe needs. So it's like the tribe tells you how they want to be led, and then because I get that feedback from the tribe, basically that's when my voice comes out for leadership. So yeah, it was really interesting that then she told me this, and then I started looking a bit into the research, and I'm starting to get more and more comfortable with it, and then asking people, okay, you know, what is the type of music you like? Like what would you like? And so then I can adjust whatever I'm offering to the people that are actually coming, instead of me being like, oh, I want to create this event the way that I want it to be, and then everyone else has to adjust to that.
For anyone listening who has never heard of it, how would you give a brief breakdown of where it comes from?
Oh, well, where it comes from, that's well, I mean, there's so
And just what it
yeah,
is.
so
Yeah,
I mean, there's a guy basically, Ra Uruha, I think is his name. So, but you know, everyone who's listening, like, I'm not a super expert. Like, there's people that have actually like gone to a specific school in America and they study it all. I've just been doing kind of my own research, and just learning, and you know, through Instagram and through recordings and things like that. But basically the information is put together by this man, and it's a combination of like 6 different modalities, and it's like the chakra system, it's the Kabbalah, the I Ching, you have astrology in there, there's 2 other things. I can't think of them right now, but basically it's like a combination of 6 things, and it's like you use your birth date, your birthplace, and birth time, and it gives you a chart of like your human design. So you have this like little person, and there's all these 9 different centers, energy centers, and there's gates and channels, and like it's very, very detailed. It's extremely detailed, and for me personally, I've only scratched like the little surface of it, top surface of it. But it's like basically it's like a decision making tool. Like it helps you to just understand your body more, and the way that your body is designed, and also even the way your mind is designed. And you know, we're not the body, we're not the mind, but we are here on this like human on this planet and having this human
Mm-hmm.
experience, and to fully, you know, live that that humanness that we all have, basically, in a like authentic and like fun way, and like where you feel actually aligned with your purpose, and like where you don't feel like just frustrated and angry and like, what am I doing here, and like, and this can't be life, like, I don't know, you know, if you're like working in a job that you don't like, and you all these type of things, that bring up all these negative emotions, it's like, yeah, it's just a really good tool, basically, to understand how's your body actually making decisions, and how can you listen to that and have the courage to listen to that. And then the more and more, basically, you decondition as well, because we get a lot of conditioning from our environment, the way we are brought up by our parents and everything. The more you decondition from that and become more basically your true self, the more you will see that life is just so much more like in flow and in harmony and in alignment. But your life might actually look completely different than what, you know, what society says your life should be, and what your mind therefore thinks that you should be doing. And but internally you probably have this type of sense of like, I'm not really satisfied with what I'm doing here. Like, it's just, you know, I'm doing this because I have to, but like, is that what life is about? And but it takes a lot of courage, you know, because most of us are just doing what we're like supposed to do.
How has learning your human design and the different intricacies of you helped you in being able to reflect and being able to have more conscious decision making, and also just the way that you are able to interact with other people? How has knowing your human design helped you in these areas?
um So definitely, so for me, I'm a pure generator, and I have, for those that maybe have already know about the human design, so I have a sacral, center, root, and my spleen. They're all defined. Everything else is open for me. So that means I have a lot of, basically, like, the energies that are always consistent in me as like a very spontaneous nature, intuitive, and the way for me to respond to life is through my gut. So like a gut response. So when I feel like in my body, like, you know, excited, and like, it's like a whole body yes, like, oh yes, this is what I want to do. And through the human design, I've just been able to be more aware of when I have these sensations, and when I am confronted with some sort of decision, and then I can, you know, I can feel like I can, and it's still hard, you know. Sometimes I don't have this like full yes, and then I'm like, oh yeah, but maybe, and then I do it, and then it's like, and then I'm like, and then afterwards I'm like, oh my god, I actually knew from the beginning that this was a no, you know. But it's like, but you learn through not listening, because then you're like, okay, because the gut response can actually be different to everyone. Like, everyone has kind of their own unique way of feeling their own body. Like, according to Ra, the guy from the human design, he says the sacral basically speaks in sounds, and it's like, when you say it's like a yes, or like it's a no. But I've also read a lot of information how people say, well, that's not deep enough, because it's so unique to everyone, and to just generalize it as that is not ideal, because some people, they might not have this response, and then they're like, oh, well, where's my gut response? And it might be just a different sensation in their body. And I don't know, for me it always feels like, it's like when I really listen, it's like, I don't know, just this like deep knowing, or like, it is excitement. Like, I can get really excited, which is also a sign for generators, like being excited and like satisfied in life, like, and when I'm in the moment excited about something, and also when I feel like sometimes, let's say, I'll be like, okay, I need to make this decision, and I'll actually like ask my guides, or I'll just ask for support. I'm like, okay, I really just want signs to like show me what am I supposed to do here. And sometimes, then often for me, it happens through meeting other people, talking to others, and then I'll start feeling, okay, where am I heading towards, and what are the responses I'm getting from my environment, because that often somehow I feel almost always like reflects what's going on internally with me as well, because I'm a 2-4 as well. So sometimes what they say about 2-4s, like you are one as well, is like we're like so in our own little world that sometimes we can't really see what's going on. So like actually talking with others, connecting with others can be really helpful. And when I see sometimes like things like synchronicities happening, and then I'm in front of this decision, and then I'm like excited about this, and that's like a really strong yes. Like, and sometimes the no is more like I can almost feel like I'm pushing myself. It's almost like I'm forcing my body to say yes, and like there's a bit of resistance, but the mind is so strong as well. It can be like, oh yeah, all the conditioning, and then yeah. So I feel like just learning about the human design has just helped me to be like, okay, this is how I'm supposed to make decisions, and it takes time to really, trust, and sometimes it's scary, because then I might have some sort of response, but I'm like, but if I really say yes to this, then my life is going to change so drastically, and I don't know if I'm ready for this yet. And like, it's scary sometimes. And so yeah, and they say that it takes like about 7 years to basically decondition yourself, through this
Oh,
human
wow.
design. Yes. And it can even take longer or shorter, but I mean, they do say as like generators, it can actually be almost the fastest way if you really fully listen to your gut. But it's like you got to have this full commitment to really like do it, every single day. And and the thing is, like, your mind won't understand. Often you'll be like, why do I feel excited, or why do I feel like yes to this? Like, in the mind it doesn't make any sense at all. So yeah. And then I feel like interacting with other people, I mean, I have like, shared a lot human design with friends, and like know their charts, and then sometimes it's nice to kind of know about similarities, or I do sometimes, like, I can like analyze and be like, oh yeah, I see this in them, and that's really fun. And then you can, the more and more everyone kind of knows about the human design, the more you can respect each other's way of communicating or way of making decisions. Like, I have a friend of mine, she's like emotionally defined, so that means for her she needs to, like, making spontaneous decisions is not good. She needs to like actually sleep at least like one night on a decision, and like wait basically until her emotional wave has gone through all the stages, and then she has that emotional clarity to make a decision. And so sometimes like she needs more time basically to make decisions, whereas me, from my spontaneous nature, I might be like, oh yeah, but like, tell me, what do you think now, like, but that would be actually in a way disrespectful towards her and how she works. But yeah.
I think that's a recurring theme of trusting and just understanding that reaction, and that sometimes it can feel like trial and error. Like you're just learning the motions. Learning a new
Yeah,
language.
fully. Yeah, it's like we all
Yeah.
get, taught
So
to basically, in a way, listen to our mind, and then suddenly, like, yeah, you have to like fully unlearn everything. And depending on, how long you've been on this planet, and how much conditioning you have, and how many open centers you have, because the open centers is where we get the most conditioning. And that's also like, but it's also on the other side where we get the most wisdom, you know, because that's where we learn the most. So you always, like in human design, there's no bad or good. Like everything is just unique and different. There's no one design that's better than the other. It just shows the uniqueness, and there's a, you know, a duality to every aspect of it, and which I think is also really beautiful about it.
How would you say somebody might gravitate towards human design as opposed to gravitating to something like the Myers-Briggs test, like with INFJs and ENFPs, or just like the zodiac signs of being a Scorpio or an Aquarius or something?
Well, I wouldn't say that one or the other, like, you know, cuts, or like, how do you say, cuts it out. Like, there's a lot of people that are like, for example, like super into astrology, and then they get to know about the human design, and then they're like, it enhances their knowledge because you have astrology in human design. I don't actually know. I think you might have the, I don't know actually about if you have the Mayan calendar in there as well.
Oh, so you're saying it
Yeah, it
adds
just
new
adds
wrinkles.
basically more depth to it, and also, like, there's some people that focus more in the human design. Let's say there's some people they focus more on the astrology part of the human design, or there's some people that focus more, like a lot of people, for example, know about gene keys. Gene keys originates from the human design. So the guy, what's his name, Richard Rudd, I think. I don't know if I'm saying his name. I think it is him. He was actually a student of the human design with Ra. He was working with him together, and for many years, and then he developed the gene keys out of it. So a lot of people sometimes they know the gene keys first, and then they learn about human design. And human design is a bit more kind of like very mechanical. It can be like, you know, a bit more masculine, let's say, from its energy, and Gene Keys is a bit more feminine from its energy, basically. But they're both totally
Okay.
in harmony with each other, and it's actually great to even learn both together.
What would you say has been like some of the deepest uh, deconditioning or deprogramming that you've had to do this year?
Oh my goodness. Good question. Wow, I do not know. There's so, I mean, So I guess one of the things that I've really been super attracted to in the human design, it's called the variables. I hope I'm saying this right with my dialect. Variables,
Oh, the
that's it.
variables?
For everyone listening, I
I
have
like
a
the way you
German
said it, though.
background, so sometimes I just pronounce words very differently. The thing is, because you have basically, when you look at your human design, on the top next to your head, you have 4 arrows, and they can point into to the right and to the left. And there's basically 16 combinations that can happen. You know, you can have 1 to the right, or other 3 to the left, and, you know, 2 to the right, 2 to the left, or you can have all to the right, all to the left, things like that. And mine are all to the right, so it's called a quad right. And those type of people, like it, so these arrows basically they represent the way that you're designed to like take in information, and that can be, you know, information of food, that can be information of like knowledge, that can be information of your environment, of like the people around you. It's basically just shows you like how do I absorb life? How does like my reality present to me, basically? And I find that like just so fascinating. And because mine is quad right, it's very it's very interesting because they talk in the human design about this development that's happened with these arrows, basically. I'll just put it in simple terms. And they say basically, like at the time when the Neanderthals were alive, all the arrows were to the right. So and then, you know, and then so slowly the human race evolved, and then by the time, like, industrialization, all that kind of stuff happened, all the arrows were facing to the left. And this whole world that we live in right now, with like, the whole educational system, universities, and like the bank system, all these kind of like systems that we build up are basically all left brain systems. So it's all about like being very focused. It's a strategic mind. It's the environment is called like being observed, basically, and then there's one other thing, but basically that's happened. And now, since I think 1781, if I'm not mistaken, is since then we've been having a change. And because we used to be 7 chakra beings, and now we are actually 9 chakra beings. But we're still in the evolvement of fully basically maturing as a 9-centered being. And in 2027 there's like many shifts happening, and basically we're already in it now. This is why, like, for example, this whole situation with what's happening globally at the moment is basically all already predicted in the human design. Because and like this whole concept about like emotional intelligence, all that fully aligns with what they say in the human design, which is so interesting. And basically what they say is that now we are going back into right mind. And so the right-minded people is all about like they have more peripheral vision of the environment. It's all about basically like my mind, my brain absorbs everything. Like I'm like, if they say it's like the quad right is like the big ocean, like the depth of information. It's like they absorb everything in the environment, the smell, the sounds, the clothes of people. Yeah,
You
take
really take
everything
it all
in,
in.
but you can't retrieve it until someone actually comes and like asks you the questions. And because there's so much information that you're putting in there, like when I read a book, I will find it extremely hard to regurgitate something that I read from that book, but I still, let's say, maybe a year later, I'll be in some sort of conversation and something will come up that actually will link to that book. Suddenly that information might actually come out and be like, oh yeah, I read this, and I might put it in my own words, but I will have that information somewhere in there, and it only comes out when it's needed. And so it's a very different way of functioning in your brain, whereas like left brain people are more like very focused, and they can actually retrieve information a lot better, more like the details of things, but they might not have the big picture, if that makes sense. And they say like the left brain people are more like the scuba divers, so they like scuba dive into the ocean of the right brain people. And so what they say basically is that the quad right people, especially the ones that have all 4 to the right and not a combination, those ones are, for example, actually really not meant to be in like an environment of like university and like school system, because it in a way actually like crushes their creativity, the way that they are supposed to live their creativity. And I'm at university right now, so for me that's one of the things that I feel like is that there's a lot of like deconditioning kind of happening. And like I don't know, I'm still in the process a lot of that, but it's more of me realizing how do I actually take in information. And because I am still at university and I still do want to learn what I'm learning, but I don't like I just feel so like I don't agree with this whole system. And it's so like it feels the more and more basically I get aligned with who I truly am, the more I feel like I suffer in a way when I'm in these environments that don't align with me. And also because now with all the whole like pranic lifestyle and like cleaning my body and like cleaning my vessel and all of that kind of stuff, I have become more sensitive to my environment as well. So maybe in the past being in a more denser state, I would have kind of been okay being in that environment. But now more and more I can feel it. So it's more like, oh, what am I doing here? But then I'm trying to find ways that I can still be in that environment but not like crush my creativity and actually enjoy it. So for me, it has to be like, if I do interactive learning, if I'm learning with others, or if I'm literally just listening to other people talk about the things that I'm learning at university, I often absorb so much more just from these conversations than if I'm reading it in some book. So I feel like that's probably one of the things that I'm working on, kind of deconditioning. And then, yeah, I mean, there's heaps of stuff, but I don't want to talk too long about it.
Where do you see the world going? Because if you know what you know about 2027, what gives you hope for the future?
Well, I feel like it's all like, it's really good. Everything that's happening right now, even though it seems like just so crazy, right? Like all this craziness happening right now. It's like, and it's so easy to really be negative about everything that's happening, but I still feel like it's so important that we actually stay positive about it. And for me, I think there's always, like, it can only get better, and it might, for at the beginning, it might now look just like chaos and like, but if you look at history, like, right, you've always had these situations where there's just full on chaos, anarchy, and like just, things are just going crazy. And then after that, there's a new age, like there's a new build up of a life that's just different, because the old system doesn't work anymore, and it doesn't. It clearly doesn't. Like all this destruction that's happening right now, like it had to happen so that we can build something new. So I think, I guess, probably looking into history and then seeing how, things did improve after there was after these moments, historical moments of chaos and destruction. Things always did improve in some way, and this is happening right now as well. And I guess just, and then also the simple fact of just putting out the energy of being positive about the future and what's to come, that's already like, that's already your gift, that you're bringing this energetic input that you're putting out there, which is like super powerful. And how, if every one of us would be doing that, like, there's no way that it could even go negative, because everyone's putting out positive energy. So, and I also kind of, I also just trust like that there's this divine plan, and in a way, we think that we have the power to, change and control, but Mother Nature is just so much more powerful, and a part of Mother Nature, of course. But at the end of the day, like I do think there's a just trust, that there's a divine plan that's happening, and just, yeah, for us, it's about like just being in the present, being grateful for what we have. And it's not always easy. I for sure have days where I am like, not, and I'm like, and then sometimes I like tell myself like a mantra. I'm like, hey, thank you, thank you, thank you, until I can feel the gratitude again. But it's like every day just trying to be your best version, basically.
I could not agree more with you. It is like that, where life definitely has a rhythm, that if there's a downswing, you can bet that somewhere down the line there's going to be an upswing. And it is kind of like after a torrential rain, you see that rainbow, you know? So it's kind of like life is like a dance. We have these periods of flow, we have staccato, sometimes it's very chaotic, right? But then, we get that lyrical and we get that
I love
silence,
that. That was such a good.
So
Very, very smart.
hey, it's coming from you, my friend. All of this I'm getting from you. So just reflecting.
I always feel like, talking to you just brings out so much out of me that I didn't even know was there. So yeah, really, really appreciate our connection. It's so beautiful. And I learned so much from you as well. Like, you're a massive inspiration for me. So, yeah, thank you to you as well.
Where can people find you if they want to, find you online? Where would you say for people
Probably
to go?
Instagram, like just Matyana, so Matyana, and then a underscore doula, Doula. Um, yeah, I just have a little account that I share personal stuff on sometimes, and still basically in the progress of or process of I don't know, I guess putting myself out there bit by bit. So yeah, they can follow me on there if they want to, or I also definitely like private messages if people have questions. Um, yeah.
All right. All right. Well, you enjoy the rest of your day. And
Yes.
I know
Well,
it's
thank
just
you so
starting.
much. This was a beautiful start to my Saturday. Yes. I love to connect to you, and yeah, I will talk to you very, very soon, for sure.